My name is Lynn Corbel. I serve as the Assistant Director of MBSR Teacher Education and Curriculum Development here at Brown University School of Professional Studies. I've been training teachers since 2012 and teaching MBSR since 2005. And it's really good to be here with you all. I want to acknowledge how um, we live busy lives. And I don't take the fact that you are here and spending this time as something casual. My experience in all the years that I've taught and trained teachers is that there's a strong yearning to be here for some reason. You're following some impulse inside of you that that this matters. So and that doesn't hold any expectation that you'll go on to teach or to take the class or any of that, but just the recognition that something inside of you called you to be here and that you listened. So thank you for your presence and invite you if you're in a place where you can be safe and practice to just I'll guide us in a brief arrival practice. So if you've been sitting all morning as I have, you might just take a moment to stretch, even if you don't stand up, but stretching in your chair in a way that would remind you that you have a body, that you've been breathing all this time, maybe if you haven't been fully aware, and that there's some length to your spine, making some sounds, allowing the breath to be a little deeper, maybe inviting a twist. All those places, the neck, the shoulders, the head. If you're sitting, maybe picking up your feet and circulating your ankles, wiggling your toes. And then gently and gradually allowing yourself to come to some stillness. And of course, for you, if lying down or standing even briefly is what's called for, please do so. Lowering the eyes or closing them, allowing your attention to move inward, and particularly to arrive in this body. Sensing into the gravity, the weightedness of the body in the chair, or whatever surface you happen to be resting on. And this first initial impulse to just invite whatever isn't needed right now to let go, whether that's tension in the body, moving from the mind and thinking to the world of sensations, the air against your skin, the feeling of the breath moving, sensations at the very interior of the body, maybe hunger or fullness, all the way out to the level of the skin, temperature, moisture, weight, contact. And letting go of whatever thoughts or thinking or emotions or feeling might be present, not as an effort to clear the decks, which we know isn't always possible, but simply to arrive in this present moment, recognizing there may be thoughts or emotions that are literally on your mind. but may not need to be tended to right now. And in fact, taking a break, a pause, could be really beneficial. In this moment, a kind of mindful check-in with the body, the mind, and the heart, allowing things to be as they are. For right now, allowing the entire body to be an anchor to the present moment, this entire experience of the body, breathing, sensing. And as you're ready now, allowing the eyes to gently open or raise, and taking a moment to look around your space as you invite the attentional awareness to move beyond the body to the room, the environment that you happen to be in. Gradually making your way back to the screen and seeing who's here, who's joined. So once again, thank you all for your presence and thank you for that practice. This is an information session for the teacher training pathway, the MBSR teacher training pathway. And I'll be sharing the screen and there'll be time for some questions. I want to make the uh, ask you all, please, to not put your questions in the chat. That we'll be using the electronic hand, which you should be able to find at the bottom of your screen. Or if that isn't working for you, which sometimes I know it's hard to find, wave your actual hand so I catch it. But that I'm going to keep my attention here with you all and with what I'm explaining, and I won't be checking the chat repeatedly. So this way you'll be sure to get your question asked. So I do want to share the screen for a moment and also let you know that you will be receiving a recording of this after the session, along with the slides and contact information. So just so you know that you don't have to take copious notes. Sometimes that can be can free your attention up for being right here. So this is, as I said, an information session for the teacher training certificate pathway. And I know that some of you may be here and you have not taken the 8-week program. So there is a general session for the 8-week program. If I have time at the very end, I'm happy to answer any questions about this, but about that. But this is a particular session for those who have taken the 8-week MBSR class and are interested in what happens next. So just very briefly and in general, at the Brown School of Professional Studies, we offer 8-week MBSR, 8-week MBCT, and we do offer a shorter program, Finding Peace in a Frantic World. Note that that program does not have a teacher training aspect to it. The format for especially our foundations program and the MBSR teacher training pathway, all of our programs are offered live online. At this point in time, we do not have any teacher training programs offered in person. To become a qualified level 1 MBSR teacher takes in general between 9 and 12 months. The shortest amount of time for complete certification is 3 years. It's very rare for someone to do it that quickly. And you can be teaching after that 12 to 18 months, but the complete certification, most teachers take between, I'd say, 4 and 6 years to do that. And some take longer, and that's all fine. You might recognize yourself in this learner profile that you have participated in an 8-week program. you have or are considering the silent retreat, which is one of the requirements to begin the teacher training pathway, and an average of 2 or more years of regular daily meditation practice of generally 30 minutes or more of formal practice. We ask for a bare minimum of 1 year of practice, but we actually prefer 2 years. So, and that can be dependent on somebody's set of circumstances. We partner with the Mindfulness Center at Brown through the School of Public Health. The initial course, the foundations course, is offered 4 times a year, and the other parts of the training program are offered usually 2 times a year. I'm going to go over this in great detail from the website, so I'm not going to do that from this slide, but I do want to point it out that you will get this, even if you can't find it on the website again, but it is on there. This is the complete certification pathway, and here are ways to connect with us. So that's the slide. And let me stop sharing and pull up the other program. And I will be able to see you when I share the slide. So if you use your electronic hand, and if you have a question that I don't seem to be responding to, just come off mute and speak up. All right, so I'm going to go to this big graphic. Can you all see that? Just give me a thumbs. Okay, great, thanks. So if you have already taken the 8-week MBSR program, then you're right in this column here, the prerequisites. So full engagement with the 8-week program. This also doesn't have to be an MBSR class through Brown. Maybe you took it somewhere else. Maybe you went to an in-person class somewhere in your region, or you took it online somewhere else. It's not, doesn't have to be with us. And then the other uh, prerequisites is the qualified retreats. So one 5 to 7 day or two. These 3-day retreats are very particular, and we can look at those on our website if there are questions. And then here again, the 2 years of personal practice. So this first course is the MBSR Foundations and Facilitator Training. This course is 10 weeks long. We offer it 4 times a year, and it encompasses two components. It includes another live online MBSR class that is paired with a Foundations Facilitator seminar. So, and there are usually several sections of this offered. Each one is paired with a different MBSR class. So I'm not teaching this summer, but I think there's a Monday night class with a Tuesday night seminar, and different configurations. So you'll need to look closely at that schedule. You can't take a different MBSR class with a foundations. They're paired in a particular way. So you engage with the MBSR class fully as a full participant. And then you meet with your smaller cohort. No, there's no more than 12 people in that training. And you spend 3.5 hours engaging in practice and in dialogue about what arose for you in the MBSR class. This course, you begin to understand the underpinnings of MBSR. It is not a training to teach the 8-week program. It is a foundational training which prepares you to offer and guide mindfulness practices to others and offering introductory workshops. So the training, the facilitator training, leads to your capacity to offer intro workshops, guide clients or patients in brief mindfulness practices. And successful completion of this training leads to a Credley badge of mindfulness facilitator. For some people, therapists, HR professionals, clergy, educators, This training may be all that you really want and need. So this is might be a full and complete training that sets you up for what you're trying to do next in your professional life. The other element of the foundations and facilitator training is that it deepens your practice. I would say 99% of people who complete the foundations and facilitator training name that they had expected to deepen their practice but hadn't known how much. And that it really fostered confidence in their practice and then in being able to take the next steps to offer introductory workshops or to work with their clients or patients in ways that grounded them in the MBSR approaches and background. Between this training, foundations, and the teacher advancement intensive, there's a requirement of a minimum of 3 months. This allows you to do independent study in whatever areas, which include study of the curriculum. It also includes time to take another 5 to 7 day silent retreat or two more 3 day qualifying retreats. And the minimum of teaching 3 introductory sessions. So more are most welcome. And the more you do of those, the more equipped you are to enter the teacher advancement intensive. This second formal training does prepare you to teach the 8 week program and is offered in 3 3 day modules over, I think, about 6 to 8 weeks. There's usually at least one, sometimes 2 weeks between the 3 days, and typically those 3 days are Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Successful completion of that teacher advancement intensive leads you to become a qualified level 1 MBSR teacher. You're qualified and encouraged to teach the 8 week MBSR course. And then all these other courses and retreats can happen anywhere along there. So I like to pause here before going on to the other courses. And because oftentimes people are just really interested in what are the first steps I need to take to get to either offering intro programs or just being able to teach the 8 week program. So I'm going to pause there and stop the share and see if there are any questions so far. That was a lot of material.
I have a question.
Yeah, Joel, please.
Can you go into more detail on the retreats? Where are they held? You know, what do they
Yeah.
encompass?
Yeah. Let me pull up and I'm going to walk you through this. I'll share the screen. So here in the School of Professional Studies, if I go under mindfulness education, teaching certificate, and I think it's under curriculum, and you'll see qualifying silent teacher-led retreat. So this page is actually going to be updated soon. So bear with me as I go through, it's a little cumbersome right now. But it's a very long page, and I encourage you to go through all of this. So I want to be very clear. Brown University does not sponsor any particular retreats. However, we can make some recommendations. Um, this is a not well identified subheading, recent offerings. However, each of these live links are websites that take you to sites that are teachers who we work with, who train with us. So, for instance, the awareness and relaxation training mindfulness programs is Bob Stahl. And if you go here, you can see all of his retreats scheduled. So, this is the first place to look, or one of the first places to look. These 3 day online silent retreats through UMass Memorial, these are really critical because these are the qualifying 3 day retreats. Most other 3-day retreats are not this long. These are all online. They start Friday at 12:30, they end Sunday at 5:30. And typical 3-day retreats usually start Friday night and end Sunday at lunch. So these have been specifically created with longer practice times. So I'm want to just note these. And what I can do is just drop this into the chat. There's a link in the chat. If you keep going, here's some information. John Kabat-Zinn teaches every fall with his son at Omega. It's a 7-day retreat, but it is not fully silent. So we count it as a 3-day retreat because he does this thing called a retreat inside a retreat. And those 3 days have 3 full days of silence. Um, this is a list, it is not exhaustive, of possible retreats. And you'll notice they're not live links. So you'll need to just do searches on all of these. Again, this isn't an exhaustive list. So if you have another place that you've found, you're always welcome to send us the link and we can talk you through it. What you will notice is that there aren't yoga retreats here. And most of all of these are meditation retreats. They are not more general wellness retreats. So that's some information about that. And then as you scroll down, you'll find more about online and in-person retreat formats. Here in specifics are the 3-day retreat schedule, which delineates those longer times. So I'm going to come back now and address Joel. Hopefully that was helpful. Get you started. Good. Thanks. Eric, please.
Yes, Lynn, thank you for the presentation. I'm currently looking at another online training program through with Tara Brock and Jack Cornfield. And what differentiates this program from theirs? And yeah, what I'm
Yeah.
curious to know. Thank you.
Great. That's a great question, Eric. We have a lot of teachers who've done both and have done them at different times, but I'll tell you what my understanding is. I know a little bit about that program. So, MBSR teacher training is MBSR teacher training. It's not general mindfulness training, even though the foundations training does convey the mindfulness facilitator. It's a Tara and Jack's program is more broadly mindfulness, and they're both Dharma teachers. So they are gearing it more towards Buddha Dharma. It's not that we aren't doing that, but we're not doing that specifically. MBSR is um, secular. It's approached through science. And again, I'm also not saying that Jack and Tara don't include science in theirs, but this is a particular curriculum. So we're always going back to that. And the themes of that curriculum are really highlighted in the teacher training. That gives you a little bit. Yeah. Thanks. Cynthia, please.
Thank you. I have two questions. Uh, First one about the retreat. Does he have like a maximum deadline? So if I took a UMass retreat 2 years ago, is it qualified for that?
It does. It
And
does.
my MBSR, I took it in 21. Is it qualified too? So that was my
Yeah.
first question.
Yes, Cynthia. Those are good questions. If it's a little bit on a case by case basis. I mean, we've had people come in who maybe haven't taken a long silent retreat for 6 years, but they've been mothering or parenting, they've been parenting and but they've kept up their daily practice. So sometimes it's balancing that. And we've had people take MBSR 6, 7 years ago and come back and go, well, things have changed and things are the same. So yeah, yeah, that's fine.
Perfect. And I want to know more about the between the course one and the second one. Like we have 3 months to take, if I understand well, to take another retreat. So we cannot take it during the first class. We need to really finish the first class. And then before the other one, we need to take the 5 days or 2, 3 days retreat. Well,
Yeah, Cynthia, it's an interesting thing. It's not just timing for that. So somebody could take longer between those two. And it may be that in your foundations you are taking your second retreat. Um, Getting a little bit of feedback. Everyone can make sure that they're unmuted. Great, thanks. So the timing is for assimilation. It's for self-study. It's to do the intro programs. Maybe you'll need that time for the retreat. We do have people come into the program who've already taken many retreats, who've taken, 7. So the retreat piece, it's built in there, but we actually are looking, we consider that time to be important, even if you have the number of retreats. Is that helpful? And one more. Okay.
yes, thank you. Yeah, just my last question about the introduction class. Then we give again between the first and the second one. Does it have like a minimum participant needed? I
Yes.
understood that it's for an hour and a half or 2 hours, but how many participants require?
Yes, a minimum of 6. Yeah, and yeah, there's also a teacher training handbook on our website, and that's really useful too. Yeah. Thank you, Amy.
Hi there. I am signed up for the introductory 8-week course starting June 22nd. So I'm very excited about that. And then after that is the 10-week course. And after the 10-week course with the retreats and all other requirements met, you mentioned that you'll be granted a mindfulness facilitator credential. And it says you'll be qualified to guide mindfulness practices and offer introductory workshops. Can you tell me a little bit more about like what that looks like? I want to kind of just know a little bit more about like, is that you're qualified to do guided meditations or like what that looks like?
Yeah. Yeah. So in the foundations component, those 10 weeks, it's we're really doing 2 things in that training. Development of the teacher, the person of the teacher, so deepening your own practice, articulating your experience, understanding what the skill set is in terms of your own practice and experience. And then and so we think of that as embodiment, this person of the teacher. And then there are skills. How do I guide a practice? What are the best practices in languaging guided meditations? And what are the principles that we're drawing from when we're guiding practice? So you come out of the foundations being able to guide a brief 10 or 15 minute focused attention practice, offering brief mindful movement practices, perhaps a body scan short, 5 to 10, 15 minutes, something like that. And then being able to talk about mindfulness. What is it? What isn't it? What are we doing in practice? So being able to speak about mindfulness in a way grounded in science and in your own experience. Many people come to foundations with some idea in their mind of, oh, I want to work with teachers, or oh, I want to work with this population, or I'm a lawyer and I want to help my colleagues, or I mean, it's kind of astounding. I'm just thinking about the woman who was an airplane pilot, and she really wanted to work with the stress that she saw in her colleagues. So it's balancing what you're coming in with, who you might want to meet in your teaching, with this both the skills and the knowledge, but also this person of the teacher. Does that, and I've lost you now because your hand went down. Thank you,
That's
Amy.
helpful. Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. That answered my
Of
question.
course, of course. Thank you. Anne, please.
Yes, I have a question. Your program looks super interesting, but I'm living in Paris. And so is it compatible with living abroad? Because, I'm working, I have a full-time job, nothing to do with mindfulness, but just wanted to know, is it compatible? Is it possible to end the course and work at the same time and be based in Europe? So a 6 hour time difference between Eastern.
Yeah. Yeah, and thank you. This is a really good question. So, for those who might be wanting to teach in a different language, so I was just on the phone today with my colleagues in France. The ADM is a terrific training center. I go way back with those trainers. So that may be a consideration for you
That's
to
interesting.
to
Super.
take.
I,
Yeah, yeah. So
because I have been trained in English, by the way, in MBSR. So I have already taken 2 teacher courses,
uh
but Brown University has this aura. So if there's any, yeah, sorry.
No, no. I mean, it's really up to you. I in the US, it's like you can go to an Ivy League school, you can go to a state school, your college and university.
Mhm.
Does it make a difference in 10 years? I don't know. I don't know, but we sometimes we resonate with different
Mhm.
places. I mean, I think there's a lot to be said for training in your own country. There's something in your own language. There's something
Mhm.
about the cultural understanding. And we have a lot of teachers from we have international teachers who engage with our trainings. They manage to find time scheduling that works. They take some time off of work. We have people who, for the TAI, show up in the middle of the night. We have some guidelines that can help, but
Mhm.
it's knowing your own learning style, what works, what your other work is like. Most of our trainees are full-time working professionals, so they choose times of the year where they're more available, or take scheduled time off, or work it out that way.
But would you recommend finding a local place? And if there is any, I'd be very happy to hear about it. Any associated
I
institutions in
don't have
France?
a recommendation, and this is
Right.
it's really for you. The ADM, that's the French group, the Association for the Development of Mindfulness
Okay.
in
I
France.
will do that.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, Bruce.
Hi, Lynn. Just a couple questions. The tuition wasn't, or the cost wasn't super clear to me. If you could talk about that. And then maybe talk a little bit about the curriculum in terms of, what are the deliverables? Is it just attending classes? Are there
Great,
tests? All that stuff. So if you
great.
could expand on that, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm gonna share screen again, bring back to the certificate pathway. Um, and right here is registration and cost. So this is the tuition for each of the formal programs. Uh, so these two are the ones that I've spoken about so far. This doesn't include, of course, the retreats. So just to factor that in. And then, so I'm going to stop the share here. Um, yeah, in terms of what's the expectations and the course requirements for foundations. So you're meeting with your MBSR class for 8 weeks plus the orientation, that's 2.5, 3 hours. And then you have the foundations, which is 3.5 hours. We do not do any recording of those classes either way. The expectation is that you're clearing your schedule and making space in case there's an emergency, but your live online presence is a requirement, a strong requirement. So that I'm really glad you're bringing this up, because it's really important to look ahead and figure things out. We have people joining on vacation, but they've carved out the time, so there may need to be uh, you just might need to figure that all out. So it's good to be able to plan ahead. Um, so the 3.5 hours are highly experiential. They're not like what we might think of as teacher or as trainings in the broadest professional sense. We're not doing a lot of didactic. There's a little bit of that. So you're having this in-person engagement with practice, with reflection, with articulation and expression. And then you're doing readings. We do have an online platform that we use. You're doing readings. We also have some videos to watch. And then there are discussion posts. So there's in-class time, and then there's time week to week that you're doing things sort of behind the scenes, but that's part of the learning. As you move through those 10 weeks, there's a group presentation. You're also doing teachbacks. We do a lot of teachbacks in the 3 hours. I wouldn't say a lot. We do several of them, but there's also a few expectations where you're getting together with somebody in your cohort, one or two other people. So that time is additional time when you're figuring things out. And we do our best to work around time zones since we do have international groups. Does that help?
Yeah, just a follow-up question. So, yeah, I get that you would log on during vacation. That's just the way it is. But if you're doing a retreat, that may not, I mean, a silent retreat, that may not be compatible with class time. So do you just take the retreats and not take a course during that time, or yeah, how do you reconcile that?
Yeah, it depends. What if you're in the training, we really don't want you to miss a training course. Some if the MBSR class that week it is because we have several other classes going on, well, it's not ideal. Maybe you can pop into a different MBSR class, but still stay in line with your foundations group. But yes, people do make other arrangements. Occasionally, depending on what retreat it is, occasionally the retreat teachers understand what's going on in MBSR and they might make an exception that you could join the training. It's a little bumpy. I don't personally, I don't recommend it because I think that it takes us out of the experience we're in. And since that's what we're cultivating, we should stay with that, you know. So it might mean you schedule something at a different time. Yeah. Thanks, Bruce. Sorby.
Hi, Lynn. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I just have one question. In MBSR facilitator training, you've mentioned that there is a prerequisite of 2 years of personal practice. I'd like to know how will one substantiate for Brown to be considered it acceptable?
We ask you to be honest.
Okay, good.
We ask you to respond in the way that your own integrity allows you to respond.
Right. I was just wondering, there is no need for any document or anything that. Okay, cool. All right.
I don't know if such a document exists, so.
Yeah, I know, but I just thought I'll check because I'm
Sure.
very serious about this program. Thank you.
I understand. It's a beautiful quality, Sorby. Thank you.
Thank you.
John Michelle.
Hello. Oh, hold on. Getting some feedback. One sec. You had mentioned a teacher handbook that's on the website. Is that something that's available to us now, or is that just once we sign up for the program?
No, let me get there. And I can show you where it is. And let's see if I go back here. Thanks for your patience. Let's see. Going to come all the way out. Resources. Okay, so if I go to resources, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop this page into the chat. There's that link. And then here's the teacher training handbook. I'm going to show you this whole page because it's really valuable. So here's the teacher training handbook. Here's the mindfulness disclosure, which I encourage everyone to read. And here's the qualified retreats page. So each of these will link you to, this was the page that I reviewed with you. And here's the teacher training handbook.
Excellent.
Good, John Michelle.
Yep, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Any other questions before yes, I can't pronounce your name, but I'd love to know what it is.
Hello, of course. Hello from Greece. My name is Georgia Bina. I cannot change the name on
It's
my phone.
okay.
Apologize.
Okay.
So I apologize also for my English. I would like to ask you, please. I just completed the training here in Greece of an 8-week MBSR program. I'm waiting to receive my certificate. They told us that this would be accepted by Brown University. So I would like to ask you if we can enter on the next step after the program here in Greece.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. And all you have to do is, so you're interested in the foundations.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, all you have to do is when you apply, when it'll ask you, where did you take MBSR? And you'll say the teacher and where it was in Greece and the dates. And who was your teacher? I'm curious. I know some of the Greek teachers.
It's a Greek name. It's Mrs. Eleni Kouveli.
Elena, I know Elena.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Elena. Yes, yes,
So we
wonderful.
just completed our course, and I would like to enter Brown for the next step, fully online because I'm a full worker as a psychologist here in Greece.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank
Great.
you. Thank you
We'll
very
get your
much.
application in, of course. Good.
Thank you.
All right. Shall we go back in and I'll share that the whole pathway and we can I can just give a brief overview of the rest of it because I think it's important just to see the fullness here. So so here's where we left off, the teacher advancement intensive, the qualified level 1 MBSR teacher. So everything to the right of this and below is what you'll be doing in your own time. There's a quality of flexibility, which I think is really helpful. You can plan it out to complete it by a certain, timeline of that works for you. Absolutely. But many people have found that it's very beneficial to take a class, see how it sits, even the foundations class. You might have a strong idea. I'm going to do this. You take MBSR, you go, okay, I like this. This feels good. You do foundations and then you're like, okay, I just need to pause now. I want to digest this. I want to see what this opens up. So really appreciating the range of possibility and the flexibility. Um, Once you begin teaching, or right before you begin teaching, you're eligible to take the MBSR Curriculum Study Group and Skill Building Workshop. We call this CSG, Curriculum Study Group. We sometimes refer to it informally as the TAI2 because it's a lot of teachbacks. In the Teacher Advancement Intensive, you're doing a lot of practice guiding, practice presenting. And in the study group, you're continuing with that. So you can take that course anytime that you're teaching first 3 full MBSR programs, or right before you're beginning to teach your first one. Somewhere after those first 3, then you engage with individual mentoring. And this is where you record, you videotape your recordings, and you set this up ahead of time. You meet week to week as you teach with one of the mentors at Brown. And we walk with you. We have hourly sessions each week. We look at clips from your recordings. You're reflecting on what you saw in your teaching. And then after this is 10 sessions, so you do that for 10 weeks as you're teaching. And then you and your mentor provide a reflection and assessment of this experience, which usually leads to teacher certification review. But when you successfully complete these 2 components, then you're a qualified level 2 MBSR teacher. The teacher certification review is a larger process. You once again record the classes 1 through 8. You do a reflective analysis. You're turning in lots and lots of material, your home practice sheets, your class flows, your recordings that you're giving to students. So this is a bigger project that happens after all of these aspects as well, the dialogue and inquiry course, and then both ethos classes These ethos classes are study classes. So all the other trainings in our pathway are how to teach classes or highly engaged in the activity of teaching. The ethos, whether it's ethos, the contemplative roots or the mindfulness science, and these are 5-week classes and they're hybrid. So they're is it hybrid or is it? Yeah, there are 3 classes that are online, but there's a lot of asynchronous work. These are all study courses. You're not doing any teach backs here. And then there's 2 more retreats, so a total of 4 retreats. And of course, the 2 3-day silent retreats is an equivalent to one. And one of these we encourage you to take as the Insight Inside Us retreat. It can happen at any time. So that's the full pathway, which is why and again, you can do it in 3 years. It's not the usual way that people go. And you can be teaching and charging, you're going to, when you teach the 8-week program, people will pay you, which also supports your own training. So we still have about 12 minutes. Lingering questions, wonderings, confusions. Mikkel?
Hi, Lynn. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Nice to see you.
Yes, nice to see you and hear your voice. I know, I miss you. I was just wondering, so I was looking into the 5-day retreat somewhere local in Virginia. And so you mentioned that I could send that information over to make sure that it would qualify. So do I send that to you? Who do I send that to?
Yeah, you can send it to me. That's fine.
Okay.
And
Okay, perfect.
it's also always fine to send it to exec ed, the email that you will get in the slides.
Okay.
Somebody at that address can also respond. But
Okay,
fine
perfect.
to send to me. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Jean-Michel?
Yeah, in terms of the 8-week in-person course that we need to do as a prerequisite, does it matter if our teacher is a qualified level 1 versus a certified teacher? Okay.
No, and it doesn't have to be in person. It can be online. It just needs to be live online. It needs to be synchronized. It can't be an asynchronous class.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's how we know of 2 asynchronous classes. One's the Palouse course. I can't think of his name who started it. And it can be a huge resource, but we can't count it as a live online. And then there's the Sounds True class with that you can purchase through Sounds True. It's Saki Santorelli and Florence Milio-Meyer. They're beautiful teachers, have been in the field for many, many, many decades, but it doesn't count as a prereq. We want you to engage with the full 8 weeks. Amy.
Hi again. My question is, as I mentioned, I'm starting the very first introductory MBSR course. And during that, I would like to complete my first 5-day silent retreat. And there's a few that coincide. And I just wanted to double check, is that something that you can do during the 8 weeks?
You can. I would recommend if you have not taken a multi-day silent retreat before, Amy.
I have not, no.
Yeah. If you're pretty new to mindfulness, that's a big jump. So you might want to take it. I don't know anything about your practice history, but if that's a big leap. So even somebody who's been practicing for a year, fairly, depending on how long each day, there might be some things you want to consider. Which brings me to the other piece. You're welcome to sign up for an individual advising session. And let me get that here. That's on the opening page of the website.
I actually did have a session. It was very, very helpful for anybody else who hasn't and is interested in it. I would definitely highly recommend it. For my case, I'm in a unique position. I've been practicing mindfulness for about 3 years now, and I'm going to be off work on short-term disability. I've been going through cancer diagnosis for 8 weeks, and that 8 weeks happens to line up with when I'm going to be taking the course. And my job, I don't have a ton of PTO left for the year because of that, which is why I wanted to kind of coincide the retreat with that. So even if it isn't maybe ideal, is it possible?
It is again, and I'm sorry for your cancer diagnosis. I mean, it sounds like you've got a lot on your plate here. So I understand you're trying to make all these things fit. Um, because we have several classes each week, it may be possible that the way the schedule falls, you won't have to miss a class, that
Right.
you
And
can
that
take
would be
a class with someone else that week. So that's an option. And I would just say to give yourself some wiggle room that you might get to the retreat and you might go, oh, this is way too much. And that so that it may not, just to be realistic and not kind of grit your teeth and push through.
Thank you. That's helpful.
Yeah. Thank you. Anybody else? Danielle, and then Hannah.
Hi.
Hey.
Nice to meet you all. I just wanted to just double check like if I hear
Oh, you're breaking up,
uh,
Daniela.
oh my God. So let me take a minute, just a minute, so I can arrange.
Okay, go ahead. And Hannah, do you want to step in?
Hi, thank you so much. I am signed up for the intro 8-week course that's starting in June 22nd as well. I was just wondering if you could speak a little bit to whether or not there's going to be kind of just a full intro into the science of mindfulness. You know, that's one of the aspects that's really drawn me, and I was wondering if that will be kind of portioned out in the very beginning, or if that's something you have to kind of follow through the program to learn more about.
Yeah, thank you, Hannah. I think that, of course, this is what we all want, right? um, and the way that I even hesitate to call it the intro MBSR. It's just MBSR. I mean, for some people that launched them into their meditation practice. It was the deepest dive. It was the introduction and the deepest dive all at once. So I just want to acknowledge the real profundity of those 8 weeks that people encounter. Um, and maybe I should ask Mikkel, who was just with me in the 8-week program. I'll invite you to come off mute, Mikkel, in a moment. But we're really investigating as scientists ourselves to see what is happening here. And then the teacher will drop in a little bit of science, like, oh, yes, the research shows that exactly what is happening is what we see. So that it's not about like getting all this information up here, but it's more of like letting the practice really settle and experiencing it, and then having the confirmation of the science of like, okay. So you're nodding, which sounds like it's or looks like it's confirming. But Mikkel, if you want to add anything, since you have this fresh.
Yes, hi everyone. I recently finished the 8-week course, and Lynn, I was blessed to have her as my teacher. And it was I did have previous experience with mindfulness, but the program was structured so beautiful in that each week it built, and so um in the courses and during your practice you're discovering mindfulness, if that makes sense. And it was just so perfect that each week just built, a little bit more. And so me personally, even though I've been practicing for 6+ years, it really strengthened my practice, completely. It helped hold you accountable too. So it is a great introduction to mindfulness. Yes.
Thank you, Mikkel.
Hmm.
And thanks, Hannah, for asking. Gabrielle, before I come to you, I want to take Daniela's question because she was up earlier. Yeah.
Thank you. I hope it sounds better.
Yes.
Okay. So I just wanted to double check and understand it like well. Is if I have like a silent retreat here in Mexico that I get approved, is it all right also?
Yes.
It doesn't have to be in United States or
No.
right.
No, not at all.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Gabrielle.
Hello, Lynn. Nice to see you again.
Too.
I am getting ready to register for the fall foundation class. I just wanted to talk about the registration itself. We just submit the registration and go through the payment and then get accepted, or how does it work just on the registration itself?
Yes, you need to register and there's an application and you pay, you do it all up front, and then your teacher will contact you. And that may be 2 to 4 weeks after you apply. And you will have about a 30-minute meeting with your teacher, and she or he will go through all of the expectations and requirements just to make sure there's good alignment. Because sometimes people come in with an idea about the way things are going to be, and then it's different. So we want to clarify things and get on the same page. So that's the process. Great. 2 minutes. Any final thoughts, questions? Okay. Well, thank you all. It was great to see you. I hope this supported you in taking your next steps. And yeah, have a good rest of your day or evening.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Lynn, I have a question, Lynn. I came in late.
I can stay on for a minute or two.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I am ready to apply for the foundation. I've already taken the 8-week MBSR with Brown University. And I want to find out whether I could pay for the foundation. So the payment, is it as I go along?
Yes, it's
enrolling?
for
Okay.
each component. You're going to pay for each component.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Bye-bye, everyone. I'm going to end.